Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to all the single moms. You're doing a fantastic job, especially those of you who are raising sons. Can I throw out a few hints to single moms who are raising sons? Number one, don't make him your little prince. Number two, don't give all the attention that you're supposed to give to another male, like somebody you're dating. Don't give that attention to your son. It really ruins his development. He gets used to women catering to him. Then, here's the last one. Make sure that you are giving him an opportunity to have accountability and responsibility, which means you can't fix everything. Sometimes you gotta watch your little boy deal with the consequences of a bad decision and help pick him up, but don't rescue him just because he cried to his mama. Listen, you're doing a fabulous, fabulous job, but I wanna help you in any way that I can. Why are so many people hurting so badly? Make the relationship more important than the issue. Do you add value to the person that you're connecting with? My name is Derek Triplett. This is Better Relationships. And guess what? It gets better from here. Welcome to Better Relationships. My name is Derek Triplett. A few years ago, I wrote my first book entitled When I Became a Man. The premise of the book was males are born, men are built. Wow, what a concept. Well, some people like to argue that maybe women can't raise sons into men. Well, in my neighborhood, in my community, it's been happening for generations over and over again. There are about 17.2 million children who are being raised without a father. The lion's share of them are males. But guess what? Women are doing fabulous jobs in raising their boys into men. We're going to talk to a single mom who's doing just that, coming up next on Better Relationships. Now let me ask you about your son. Your son is how old?
He's 32.
Now, is he a mommy's boy?
He absolutely is.
And you said that with such pride.
He is.
Now, how is it parenting him now?
Well, I've told him, you know, my role in his life has changed tremendously. I am no longer the ATM machine. I am now his encourager. I nurture him. I'm his advisor. So I wear many hats, but the hats change. They change the older that he gets.
I have a 51-year-old. I raised him. My thing was, and I raised like we were raised, a lot of prayer. I took a lot of prayer. He was not perfect by a long shot. I was always available to support him. We always want to see him active. And his father used to always tell him, if you're in sports or some activity, it develops discipline. And that's what we wanted for him.
Are you proud of the man he is?
Oh yeah, sure. Boy, take care, mama.
I love it. Welcome back to Better Relationships. I'm Derek Triplett. The question is asked, can women raise boys into great men? Well, I've got somebody who's going to put that argument to bed. The answer is yes. I want you to welcome, let's see, comedian, recording artist, nationally syndicated radio host, Darlene McCoy.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
I'm so excited to be here.
But you are, on top of all of that, you're a mom.
That's exactly right. Before all of that.
I know you like talking about your kids. Tell me about your kids.
So I have a daughter, 28, son, 24, and baby boy is 18.
Baby boy is 18.
And grandson is almost 2.
Almost 2. The terrible 2s are coming.
Well, he's a terrible 1. And I don't know what 2's gonna look like.
You have been a single mom.
Yes.
Your sons, I've met your sons. They are terrific young men.
Thank you.
How did you do it?
I will say this, I cannot take full credit because their father is amazing. And I say this publicly, and he laughs about it every time he hears it from people through the grapevine that I've said it publicly, but we do not get along, just the 2 of us.
Okay, okay.
But when it comes to our kids, we are inseparable.
So you're co-parenting very
we
well.
are co-parenting very well. I am, we weren't doing it very well in the beginning. It's a work in progress, and it's something, and it's a goal that you have to reach, because the reality is when two parents break up and they have children, it's just not an easy thing to do, but you have to have a goal in mind that these children need both of these parents.
Okay.
And that is something that you have to give into.
The balance.
Yeah, you're gonna have to balance it. There's some sacrifices, there's some things you're not gonna get your way. Sometimes there's some times you're gonna be by yourself, and you gotta be okay with that.
Okay.
But believe in God for that, for the next step coming.
Now you've had to raise a daughter.
Yes.
And you've raised two sons. And have you had to parent them differently?
Absolutely,
Okay.
because they're three different ages, and you have to parent them differently. I would say my 18-year-old son is the one that had the total single mom.
Okay.
And that was me by myself, just trying to make sure, you know, I'll never forget one time he called and he said that the gangs were bullying him at school. And
what did you do?
Oh my. So I said, tell me who. So he told me who. I said, tell me where they live. He told me where they live at Roundabout. I went knocking on doors until I found where he lived, and I called his mom and father out and said, let me let you know something. Your son has said this to my son. And I just remember saying to them, I said, you know, when kids were your age and mad with each other, they started movements.
Right.
Instead of coming for each other. So I was able to reconcile that situation, but to have to be involved through the process, not just for the community, for the parents, but for the school and for the police and everybody, because it was a serious thing. It was gangs.
Right.
And that was hard. It's scary. It's scary for a mother.
Because you're knocking on doors.
Yeah.
Saying, I'm trying to see who's...
Excuse me, does so-and-so live here? Oh, he lives there? Okay. You know what I mean? And then going there, but the responsibility that we have to take to cover our sons, and to cover all the bases with our children, is something that we have to be dedicated to. And we lose out on a lot of things that could happen in our life because we have sacrificed to cover our children.
Give me one major sacrifice you had to make in order to raise your sons into the young men that you wanted them to be.
Oh my goodness. One major sacrifice is I couldn't have a real serious relationship.
Okay.
Because I don't want to bring somebody into the process of me raising my sons that they don't know and they have to get to know. No, I want them to get to know themselves and let me do my part, and them learning who they are and helping them to, you know, find out who they are and their purpose before they graduate high school.
Got it.
You know, so we can lead them on their way.
Now you made that decision. Now was there ever a time that either one of them came after you made your decision, but one of them came and said, look, man, we ain't trying to hear it. No, you know, so I know you're a woman and you're beautiful and all that, but these dudes, we ain't trying to hear it.
Yeah, that both of them are that way, especially the youngest. He does not play games. He wants me to have tinted windows. He don't want nobody looking at his mama. So it's just what it is. I adore that, though. I adore that. I appreciate it. I understand it. And I respected that for the moment.
For the moment.
Amen.
For the moment.
For the moment.
Things come to an end.
Huh? Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this. Does your daughter view how you've raised your sons differently, especially since she's the oldest, than how you raised her?
If you ask her, she would definitely tell you yes.
Okay.
She feels like I favor my sons over her, but of course that's what daughters do.
Okay.
And I felt the same way about my mother. Okay. So, you know, I hear her. I don't agree, and I just keep being mom.
You just keep being mom.
That's it.
Financial tough times, there had to be some.
Oh my God, yes.
And how did you shield your sons, but also prepare them to be men by letting them see a little bit?
Well, some things were just inevitable that they had to see. And what they did not feel is the blunt of what I was feeling.
Okay.
They didn't know that when I was we didn't have our gas on and I'm warming up water just for you to take a bath.
Okay.
They did not know it was because we had hard times.
Okay.
They had no idea.
They just thought Mom was being creative.
Right. They had no idea that when the tow truck was coming to try to repossess my car, they didn't know they was coming to get the car. They were just like, some man with a tow truck's here, Mom. You need to, you know what I mean? They had no idea. But it wasn't until later that I showed them. I said, remember when we used to pray and ask God to keep us? I said, look at us today.
Okay.
He kept us.
Okay.
And so all of those opportunities were an opportunity for me to introduce grace, introduce prayer, and introduce God to my children.
I love it. When we come back, I want to talk about how you've instilled what would be traditional manhood traits into your sons as you being their mom. When we get right back, I'm Derek Triplett. Let's head back over to the Q&A corner. This is a question from Mason from Michigan. Wow, Mason from Michigan. I'm ready to have a baby. My wife is not ready yet. How do we bridge this gap? Well, Mason, you might not like what I'm about to say, but I'll say it anyway. First of all, Mason, you got to think about the fact that we don't have babies. We don't do that. We are a part of the process, but the shift, the change, the transformation in the woman's life is infinitely greater than what happens to us as men. And so I encourage that you and your wife would continue to talk, continue to pray, and get on the same page. Because what you don't want to happen is that such a gift, like a baby, would be a reason to cause a rift between husband and wife. So you got to get on the same page. And for anyone else who's watching Mason's question, these are the kinds of conversations you have to have prior to getting married. These are the kinds of conversations that you have to have so that you know going into the relationship how to plan out your life. But for Mason, for you, pray about it. You all will get on the same page, but at least respect the fact that the shift in your life is greater for her than it will be for you, and allow that to kind of assuage some of your difficult feelings. I hope that helps. Welcome back to Better Relationships. I'm Derek Triplett. We're talking about mothers raising sons. We've got Darlene McCoy talking about raising her boys. You wanted them to be men. What was that for you? How did you define them growing into men, and how did you make sure you instilled that into them?
Well, the thing of it is, I was blessed to have men in my life, like my father, my brother. I am not a man, so I can't really tell them exactly how to be one. But what I did understand is, first of all, humility, understanding that these are young men who are hunters, they are warriors, and there are certain things that you want them to just know how to do. Such as taking the trash out, such as, you know, making sure all of the doors are locked, and making sure that you prayed over the house and this kind of thing.
Teaching them to be a covering.
I just teach them how to cover, and teach them how to open doors, and teach them how to be polite and respectful, you know, because they respect me. And this is it's a great thing to have a mom who respects herself. That's important, because I believe that a young boy, a young man, their mom is the first person that they fall in love with. That's the first woman that they actually fall in love with. And not, of course, not that kind of love, but they love their mother. So I respected that process of them understanding that I'm here to listen, and I'm here to point them in the right direction. Well, son, I can't answer that question, but I can help you to decide what you should do. But I let them be the leader, let them be the warrior on some things, let them make some mistakes. And then let them come back and say, okay, well, this is how I would have handled it, and let them go and fix the mistakes.
So you weren't the perpetual rescuer?
No. No, I won't rescue the young men, because young men don't necessarily always need a rescuer. They need to learn how to rescue in situations. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but so far, looking at my sons, I really am happy for what the Lord has done. I'm happy for what me and their father was able to instill in them. And I mean, we'll just see what,
Give me something that you would have done differently, a mistake you made, or if I had to do it over, And it could be with either of your sons.
If I had, I honestly would teach them a lot earlier about entrepreneurship. And I know that sounds,
Okay.
I know that kind of sounds, well, they're just 24 and 18. But in this day and time,
Right.
I would really push them further with who they actually are.
Okay.
I had a son that was a football player,
Right.
invested a lot of money in him going to college and playing football for him to come back and tell me he's a rapper. And I'm like, boy, if you don't go get that ball and run it. But that's who he is.
Right.
And then, you know, my youngest son is an entrepreneur.
Right.
I learned from this one not to push this one in the direction that he just is not going to go in.
Okay.
So I think it's important. I know the scripture says that train up a child in the way that he should go. I think it's our responsibility as mothers to understand which way they should go so that we can train them that way.
Wow, I could talk about this forever, but before I go, I have to ask this question. Did your boys always know that you would snatch them?
Oh my God, yes. They still know that. My 28-year-old daughter knows that. Like, and that's, it's funny you asked me that. Someone has just asked me that. They said, do they have the fear? They absolutely do. They know that I'm not afraid of them. I will snatch them. To this day. Praise God.
Listen, this is a successful woman, but she's a successful mom, raising two great sons and a great daughter. It can happen. This is Better Relationships. It gets better from here. Let's head over to the Q&A corner. This is a question from George from Illinois. How should I manage myself on social media? I don't want to do too much. I don't want to do too little because I am a Christian. Wow, George, this one comes up all the time. Your social media profile is not just about dating and romance and the like. Your social media profile also has an effect on employment. It has an effect on if you're trying to get into school. Everybody's looking at social media profiles. So be very, very careful what you put out there. But also you don't want to seem in the dating process, you don't want to seem desperate on social media. You know how people put all those little veiled things that are just really begging for somebody to hit their DMs. You don't want to do that. Make sure that you put yourself out there the way you want. But here's also, make sure that every now and then you scrub your pages, because who you were 2 years ago is not who you are now. And you don't want people who are just meeting you now seeing the person that you were 2 years ago. So just manage your social media in a way that's fun, that's honorable, that has integrity, but also project the real image that you want to project. I hope that helps. Welcome back to Better Relationships. I'm Derek Triplett. My hat goes off to single moms. Wow, you do such a great job. Those of you who are successfully raising your kids, especially your sons, I salute you. Some of you are struggling a little bit. I've seen it happen in the schools. I've seen it unfortunately happen in the juvenile detention centers and other places, unfortunately even jails. But guess what? You can turn that thing around too. Being a parent is about sacrifice. Keep being sacrificial, do the right things the right way. But to those of you who have been raised by single moms, especially the sons, let me talk to you just a minute. Honor your mom. She's made sacrifices that you don't know anything about. Celebrate her, love her, do the things that are necessary. More importantly, make her proud. Make her proud. I'm Derek Triplett. This is Better Relationships. It gets better from here. My work is not possible without the support of a tremendous family. We are not a perfect family. We have our scars and our stains. But being a triplet is a great honor to me, and I take pride in it. I want to thank my wife, my children, my parents, and my brother and sisters for their support and their encouragement. I also have some close friends who really want to see me win. I want to thank them for helping to keep me going. Without them, I couldn't be here for you. I think that there are some people who should remain single for a while. And I want to give you some of the reasons why. If you live an overly complicated life, it's a good time to stay single. I'm not talking about busy. Everybody has job and children and career and all of that. I'm talking about complications. I'm talking about the complications from previous relationships. I am talking about the complications from situations with your children that may not be ready to bring in another variable. There are people who have complicated situations. If you know your ex is, and this is to the ladies, if you know your ex is not quite over you, and he's also capable of physical violence, then you might not want to bring another man into that situation. Deal with the complications in your life. If this is a time, let's give another example. If this is a time that possibly you're in a court battle or you're in a custody battle, it's overly complicated. And here's what happens. When my life is complicated, I need support. So it's good to have somebody with me. It's good to have somebody there. But you need to be very, very careful. How much complication do you bring into somebody else's life? Maybe, just maybe, you need to settle some issues first, get some stuff straight first before you try to bring somebody else in. It's kind of like, inviting somebody else over to your house when you're still cleaning it. They didn't show up to help you clean. They wanted to be with you, visiting you in a clean house. So if your life is overly complicated, listen, by all means, you might want to pump the brakes on a relationship. I think that there are some people who should remain single for a while, and I want to give you some of the reasons why. Here's another one. Stay out of a new relationship. Stay single. Remain single. If you've got severe money issues, let me talk to the gentleman for a minute. Dating costs money. Dating is expensive. It is expensive. And you need to budget and decide, can my budget handle dating? Trust me, flowers are expensive, dinners are expensive, gifts are expensive. All of that thing, make sure that your money situation can handle the dating process.